assist in the avoidance. The Traffic Collision and Avoidance System, or TCAS-2, provides the flight crew with a tool to assist in the avoidance of other aircraft. TCAS-2 provides vertical separation advisories for close proximity aircraft. Now, it's important to note that TCAS-2 does not provide advisories for horizontal separation. TCAS provides oral and visual advisories to the flight crew. Oral advisories are delivered through the cockpit speakers, while visual advisories are displayed on the PFD. In addition, TCAS displays symbols on the ND that show relative position of other transponder-equipped traffic. TCAS operates on the principle of delivered and received transponder signals. Your transponder emits signals and receives signals from other transponder-equipped aircraft. These aircraft must be within a maximum range of 30 to 40 nautical miles and within a maximum altitude range of 9,900 feet. The TCAS system provides a protective sphere around your aircraft that consists of a surveillance boundary. The surveillance boundary range is approximately 40 nautical miles around the aircraft and 9,000 feet above and below. The safety boundary is within the surveillance boundary and is computed as a function of time. Therefore, traffic approaching head-on with a fast rate of closure will normally generate an alert from a greater distance than traffic that is approaching from the rear. TCAS advisories are generated based upon the concept of closest point of approach, or CPA. In general, the CPA is that point at which the intruder is calculated to penetrate a safe boundary around your aircraft. TCAS evaluates the intruder to derive the estimated time before reaching the CPA. This time, to go to the CPA, is called TAU. TAU is used to trigger TCAS alerts. When the TAU is below a specified time, TCAS will activate either a traffic advisory, TA, or a resolution advisory, RA. The TCAS signals are picked up by your TCAS antenna and are sent to the TCAS processor. The TCAS processor computes the relative position of the other traffic, paints symbols on the ND, and when appropriate, issues vertical advisories. If the intruder aircraft is also TCAS equipped, your TCAS will coordinate advisories with the other aircraft's TCAS to ensure that both aircraft are guided away from each other. Full TCAS operation requires an operating Mode S transponder to send and receive the signals. Your Mode S transponder sends range, bearing, altitude, and aircraft type identification signals. For your TCAS and an intruder's TCAS to provide complementary advisories to fly away from each other, both aircraft must be equipped with operating Mode S transponders. TCAS intruders are classified in 4 levels. Therefore, 4 symbols can display on the ND for other transponder-equipped aircraft that are within range. All 4 symbols are displayed for information only and are not to be used for guidance. When the intruder is above your altitude, a relative altitude tag appears above the symbol. When the intruder is below your altitude, the relative altitude tag appears below the symbol. If the intruder has a rate of climb or descent greater than 500 feet per minute, an arrow appears to indicate the climb or descent. The wide open diamond appears when intruders are within range, but are still more than 6 nautical miles laterally or more than 1,200 feet vertically from your aircraft. These intruders are called other intruders and are not a threat. The white filled diamond appears when the detected traffic is within 6 nautical miles laterally and within 1,200 feet vertically. These intruders are called proximate traffic and are still not a threat. A filled amber circle appears and an oral alert sounds when TCAS delivers a traffic advisory or TA. A TA is provided when the TAU of the intruder is less than 35 to 45 seconds. A TA does not provide guidance, but only alerts the crew to attempt to visually locate the intruder. Crews are not authorized to deviate from an ATC vertical clearance for a TA. When a TA is delivered, the flying pilot should attempt to visually locate the intruder. No evasive action based on TCAS information is authorized when a TA is received. When a TA occurs, the flight crew should clear the area in case a subsequent evasive maneuver is required. Remember, pilots are not to maneuver their aircraft based upon a TA. A filled red square appears and specific oral alert sounds when TCAS delivers a resolution advisory, or RA. An RA is provided when the TAU of the intruder is less than 25 to 35 seconds. An RA provides specific visual and oral guidance to vertically deviate. You are authorized and required to deviate from an ATC vertical clearance for an RA. The symbols on the ND are for information only and are not to be used for guidance. According to your EFIS selection, the symbols can display without the weather display or as overlays on the weather display. In addition, a pop-up mode is available that automatically displays TA or RA symbols when a threat occurs. TCAS is programmed with your aircraft's normal performance capability and service ceiling. RAs always assume normal aircraft performance is available up to the service ceiling. The PFD is the primary TCAS guidance tool. It displays the item shown here when TCAS vertical guidance is provided during an RA. Some RAs are corrective and some are preventive. A corrective RA requires a vertical maneuver by the crew. A preventive RA requires the crew to maintain the current vertical speed. An RA always delivers a specific oral and visual command. When the RA occurs, the flight crew is to maneuver the aircraft in the appropriate vertical direction within 5 seconds and with approximately 0.25 Gs. The response to an RA should be the same as a response to an ATC call to climb or descend immediately. Some corrective RAs are more intense than others. These are RAs that are reversals to a previous RA, or RAs that are an increase to a previous RA. If an RA is delivered that is a reversal or an increase to a previous RA, the pilot must respond within 2.5 seconds with approximately 0.35 Gs of force. Pilots must never respond opposite to the current RA command. When an RA occurs, notify ATC that a response to a TCAS RA was necessary. When an RA is over, return to the ATC clearance altitude or as directed by ATC. This is a list of all oral TCAS RAs. The transponder control panel is used to control the transponder and the TCAS. The transponder can be operated without TCAS, but this isn't allowed for normal conditions. The Tcas controls consist of a mode selector and a traffic selector. The standby mode puts Tcas in standby and it is not operating. A Tcas standby memo displays in green if ATC standby or Tcas standby is selected, or if altitude reporting is selected off, or if both transponders or both radio altimeters have failed. The normal Tcas mode is TARA. This mode allows both TAs and RAs to be delivered. TARA is normally selected before takeoff, and standby is selected after landing. Use of the standby mode is not authorized for flight operations. The TA mode inhibits the delivery of RAs and may only be selected for certain conditions. When the TA mode is operating, TA only is displayed on the NDs. Check your company policy for selection of the TA mode. One example of proper use of the TA mode is when you're operating single engine. Recall that Tcas assumes your aircraft systems are normal and will issue an RA that your aircraft cannot perform on a single engine. By selecting the TA mode for single engine operations, you'll not receive an RA, and the intruder's Tcas will not assume your aircraft is able to maneuver. Therefore, the intruder's Tcas will provide different guidance based upon your inability to maneuver. Other times when the TA mode may be selected is when operating at known close runways, when aircraft are in ATC control but are close enough to activate an RA. In this case, selection of the TA mode will inhibit nuisance RAs. The TA mode is automatically and temporarily selected when a wind shear is detected, a stall is detected, or a EGPWS message is delivered. RAs are not available during these times. Automatic selection of the TA mode allows these other conditions to have priority over Tcas, and all Tcas oral messages are suppressed. The traffic selector has 4 positions. The threat position allows proximate and other intruders to only display if a TA or RA is present. Otherwise, the Tcas symbols are inhibited when threat is selected. The All position provides a constant display of all proximate traffic. With the All position selected, all in-range traffic is displayed if the traffic is within plus or minus 2,700 feet of your altitude. The Above position is similar to the All position, but traffic is displayed if it is within 9,900 feet above and 2,700 feet below your altitude. A common technique is to select Above during the climb. The Below position is similar to the All position, but traffic is displayed if it is within 9,900 feet below and 2,700 feet above your altitude. A common technique is to select Below during descent. Tcas advisories are inhibited below certain altitudes. Advisory is inhibited for intruders below 380 feet AGL when your altitude is below 1,700 feet AGL. All RAs are inhibited and are converted to TAs below 1,100 feet during climb or 900 feet during descent. Descend RAs are inhibited below 1,200 AGL for takeoff or 1,000 AGL on approach. Increased descent RAs are inhibited below 1,450 feet AGL. All TA oral alerts are inhibited below 500 AGL. The next few frames will discuss the other aircraft and how their equipment affects your TCAS operation. It's important to note that TCAS is only required on certain aircraft. Aircraft equipped with a Mode C transponder do not have TCAS. However, their Mode C emits the range, bearing, and altitude signals to your TCAS Mode S transponder. Your TCAS can provide advisories to fly clear of Mode C aircraft. However, the Mode C aircraft receives no guidance, since it is not TCAS equipped. The TCAS avoidance maneuver is not coordinated if the other aircraft is only Mode C equipped. If the other aircraft is equipped with a Mode A transponder, it is non-altitude reporting, or NAR. NAR traffic cannot send altitude signals to your TCAS, but will send range and bearing data. TCAS assumes NAR aircraft are at your altitude, but no altitude tags appear. TCAS can provide traffic advisories for these aircraft, but will not provide resolution advisories. Aircraft that have no operating transponder are invisible to your TCAS. This includes those aircraft with no electrical system, no transponder, or aircraft with an inoperative transponder. No TCAS display symbols, advisories, or guidance are provided to avoid these. At times, TCAS cannot determine the bearing of the other aircraft. In this situation, the distance only will appear at the bottom of the ND in amber or red according to the threat level. The relative altitude and vertical speed is displayed if available. If TCAS cannot determine the bearing and altitude, only the range information appears. Some mode and range messages appear on the ND to draw the pilot's attention. Reduce range appears when a TA or RA is detected and the ND range is above 40 nautical miles. Change mode appears when a TA or RA is detected and the ND mode is in plan. These messages display amber or red as appropriate, flash for 9 seconds, then display steady. TCAS operating messages can appear on the ND. The red TCAS message displays in case of TCAS internal failure. It flashes for 9 seconds, then displays steady. A white TA only message displays when the TA only mode is selected by the crew. In summary, when an RA is delivered, it has priority over an ATC vertical clearance. Air traffic control should never tell a crew to ignore an RA. The see and avoid concept remains the highest priority in collision avoidance. However, if you use see and avoid to override an RA, you must ensure that the TCAS intruder is in fact the same aircraft you have visually identified. Now, let's answer some questions.